Hey, welcome to Sprawl and Brawl episode number 24. It is right after UFC 162. We just watched that live on pay-per-view where the main event was Dennis Weidman versus Anderson Silva. We'll talk about that really soon. I am Matt. Hey, I'm the host slash producer guy. And also Steiner, he's here. I totally still had you muted.
Quite loud.
And I had you muted.
Yes, I thought so.
That was my mistake. Oh well. Sorry. People can
Matt's
hear you
a little
now.
drunk and stoned right now, apparently.
No.
So this should be one of those shows for everyone that is watching. It will be greatness and or absolute horrible crap.
So before the show, I asked you where did you watch the prelims?
On Sportsnet 1? Or I guess they're calling it Sportsnet 360 now?
Yeah, and that's the score.
No.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they bought the score.
I thought that was Sportsnet 1 that they then rebranded as Sportsnet 360.
No. So they bought the score, and now it's called Sportsnet 360. And that's where all the UFC shit's going to be now, apparently, I guess. That's good, though, because now it's always going to be on the one channel.
Okay.
And everybody has a score. Like, it's surprising how many people have the score, actually. I did not know. So, yeah, there you go. That's where we watched the preliminaries tonight. You just want to talk about the event right now?
Sure.
Alright, did you watch any of the Facebook stuff?
They replayed one of them. What was...
so the one that they replayed was Brian Melanchow versus Seth Baczynski.
Yeah.
And that one ended right at the end of the first round, literally. Well, it was on the buzzer pretty much. Yves Levine was the one that stopped it. Guy was done. Seth Baczynski. He was bleeding from, I don't know, like the eyebrow near his nose, and he was done. So he wasn't getting up from that. So I did not mind the stoppage. A lot of people seem to mind that one. And then the first fight, I barely remember this one, but it did end by TKO punches in the second. I really wish that I remembered this one because so long ago. That was like at 7 p.m.
Barboza, yeah. What do you mean? You don't remember the Barboza fight?
I remember Barboza, the first Facebook one.
Oh, Facebook.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
that I did not watch.
No, I remember the second preliminary Facebook one, but not the first. That was so long ago. I wish I remember. But no, there you go. The first TV one on FX. Edson Barboza. How can you forget that fight? Because Barboza looked like a machine against Rafael Oliveira.
Yeah, those leg kicks were fuck.
Cecil Peoples thinks leg kicks don't end fights. Well, it ended one here, man.
To the point that, yeah, you can't stand up when he broke... I'm pretty sure he broke his fucking leg. Because...
he was limping. Like, at one point you could tell, like... He wasn't limping, but you could tell that it hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then at one point...
And then he started limping, and then he
Yes,
couldn't stand.
Yes.
So
in the second round, he ended it with just more leg kicks.
yeah.
It's crazy end. That doesn't happen too often.
Well, it was Barboza's second time doing that, so...
Mm-hmm.
First in UFC history.
Oh my god, the only guy to do it. They really played that up.
Yeah.
And then the second TV fight was Gabriel Gonzaga versus Dave Herman.
Did you blink?
No, luckily I didn't.
Okay.
I saw this.
Herman does not have a very strong chin. Because he's been knocked out a couple other times pretty easily.
And he didn't even really see it coming. He just like went in for a kick and I got punched.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm out.
Again, he did hands weren't up protecting after the kick and then got knocked the fuck out.
So they said fourth fastest UFC
Heavyweight.
TKO or KO.
Yeah.
Yes. So there you go. That's how that fight ended.
Yeah, it was too fast to even. It was
Mhm.
just one right hand, and that was pretty much it.
Norman Park versus Kazuki Tokudomi. This fight was all right. Park, I like him from the tough UK versus
Smashes.
Australia season. Yes, the smashes. So, man, yeah, this is another one that I don't really remember too much about. The first two rounds, definitely Park landed some heavy left punches because they were both left-handed.
He was landing that left hook the entire fight.
Yes. Especially in the first two, though, they were both tired.
Park
in the third.
did get a little tired in the third, but he
dominated the first two.
Dominated the second for sure.
Yes.
And then the first one was he won, and then the third one was quite close.
Yeah, the third one is just the only one that I think could have went to the.
Yeah, in the third round, I didn't think was all that great.
No, for sure, they were both tired. So.
Yeah, but that Asian guy can take some fucking shots.
Oh, dude! Like, what the hell? And he was just like
those were clean,
and
he just had his chin out there and doof.
Yeah, he was just presenting himself to that damage, just like, here you go, punch me in the face.
Didn't tuck the chin in at all, and just took it on the chin and just kept going forward.
It was some good stuff. And then the return of the Crippler. The Crippler's back. Chris Lieben.
Is he, though? Is he really?
Well, he came back.
After this one, I don't know if he's back, but sure.
Well, against Andrew Craig, and this fight,
There was a pretty impressive point that Lieben was pretty fucked up, and he did manage to somehow recover and get back to his feet. Other than that, not really.
The first round was the only round that was close, kind of.
Yeah.
And then the other ones was just like, yeah, okay, Lieben lost. He did try. God, yeah, he did try a lot, but not enough. All right, there you go. And then that's all the preliminary stuff. And now we go on to the pay-per-view card. The first fight was Cub Swanson defeating Dennis Seaver via TKO punches in the third round. That was pretty awesome, right?
Yeah, no, it was a pretty good fight. I'm kind of surprised that it did happen in the third round.
Yes.
I was expecting like a TKO actually at the end of the first, pretty much. With these two, that they do like to hit hard.
And it was a close fight.
It makes sense the way it did end, though. Like, that Seaver is just a massive motherfucker for 45. And he pretty much just got tired, and Swanson just was able to keep that pace and eventually catch him and end it.
And Seaver just dropped, right? That's what happened.
I don't recall.
Yeah, I think he dropped like 3 or 4 fights ago.
Oh, dropped weight. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was his third at 45.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely not that long ago. All right. Mark Munoz coming back from depression and being a fatty. He's against Tim Boach, and Boach just really didn't show up tonight, I don't think. Munoz just took over the entire fight. Took it to the ground, beat him up there, beat him up standing. Boach didn't really do anything for 3 rounds. So the fight was kind of boring to me.
I would agree that the fight was not all that entertaining. The first round, Boach did have a couple of good takedowns and whatever. It's just his wrestling was nowhere near the quality of Munoz's. Like, he could not keep him down, and then he could not get up when it was reversed, when he was on the bottom. And Munoz's fucking body shots were pretty fucked up as well. He recorded like 160 shots in total, and like 109 of them were body shots. So.
Oh, and didn't he land 90% of all his strikes landed?
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah. He looked good. Tim Boach, not so much, but Marquinhos did.
Now, I don't know if that is just that he was just that much better than Boach, or Boach wasn't healthy, or what. Like, I don't know.
I don't know. Boach is hit or miss, so.
Yeah.
Who knows what version of Boach showed up tonight. I just remembered something too. Gabriel Gonzaga and Dave Herman in the preliminaries. It was Kim Winslow, the ref, and she had a hard time separating them for a little bit there.
Yeah.
Gonzaga was going crazy on him. Yeah. Did you notice that they all got screwed with bad refs up until the main event there? It was kind of all, Living, I got, okay, alright. He's then came Kim, just like, these two refs are terrible. And I think it was them all throughout the night except Herb Dean, I think was the...
Well, Herb Dean did 2 fights.
Okay. Was it the 2 co-main events?
I don't know. I do know he did at least 2 fights.
So, the next fight you take Strike Force, and then you're like, let's put him against another Strike Force person. I don't know why that makes sense.
And then put it on the main card.
On the main card. It's just like, okay, that's why we got Strike Force, so they can just fight each other some more. So, Tim Kennedy versus Hodger Gracie. That's how you say his name. And the Gracie got his ass whipped, pretty much. Tim Kennedy.
Yeah, I didn't really watch most of it. It seemed quite boring to me.
Yeah, it was a lot of Gracie trying to get on the ground or trying to get into a clinch and then not doing so good. And then whenever it wasn't in that situation, it was Kennedy pretty much owning. So Gracie didn't really do anything for the duration of the 3 rounds, really.
Yeah.
So I think it went the way that I was expecting it to. If it would have been on a freaking Strike Force card again. And then the co-main event, Frankie Edgar, and he was against Charles Oliveira. And I would have liked to see this one go into 5 rounds. That would have been fun.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, by points, I guess Edgar won. But, like, nothing really happened.
I know.
Like, Edgar took him down a couple of times, didn't really do much damage. Nothing really happened in this fight. No damage was really, like, there was no huge... Rogan got excited a couple of times, but they barely missed a step after getting hit. Nothing really happened.
Yeah.
So no one really cared, or at least I didn't.
The only thing that I noticed Oliveira do was in the 3rd. That was like his biggest shot at like winning.
Yeah, like nothing seemed to really stand out in that fight.
No.
Like, yes, it was pretty high paced, and yes, there was a lot of shots back and forth. There was some groundwork. The submissions never really came into play because Edgar was pretty cautious about what the hell could happen. And he just, for the most part, just sat on top of them. And then when they were up, they were just jabbing each other and then throwing some missed knees and things of that sort.
And then the main event, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
I wouldn't necessarily say that.
You wouldn't say it was awesome?
I just don't understand what the fuck. Like, the way he did it is almost like he wanted to lose.
That's how he fights all his fights.
No, it isn't.
Yeah. Well, it is like he almost wanted to lose, but he got caught. That's the thing. If you would have gotten caught doing that another time, you would have said the same thing. Yeah, he just did that because he wanted to lose. Yeah, sure, but he always does that.
I don't know. Even like the overall response at the end, I guess he took ownership of that. Like, he fucked up and he shouldn't have done what he did, and the whole like oh, I have 10 fights, but I'm not going for the belt, but I'm
Yeah.
this, I'm
Okay.
that.
That was funny. That was funny. Your
Like, I just don't entirely.
Jess is calling in.
Yeah,
Hello, guys. How's it going tonight?
It's
not
going
too
all
bad.
right.
All right, all right. So you guys were still discussing the Silva fight, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to agree with I have to say the more Frenchy because I don't know how Frenchy you are, Steiner. The French guy on this one. This is how Anderson fights, man, and this is how
Well,
Anderson has
yes.
been fighting for years. And this is the thing. It's like I've mentioned it before, but it's always been sort of in passing. Anderson has won a lot of his previous fights. At least I want to say the last like 5 or 6 fights on reputation alone. He psychs people out, and they get in there and they're with him.
Well,
And
I understand what he was trying to do. He was trying to get him pissed off so that he'd come running in, you'd do a counter punch and knock him out.
exactly,
Is the idea, but I
when has it burned him before? Before this fight, when has it burned him?
well, it almost burned him in the Maya fight.
Not really, because even in the Maya fight, Maya never really had a legitimate chance. Like Maya wasn't even nearly as close as Kale to winning that
Oh,
fight.
I know that, but
The only
the
way that
Kale
it
fight
really
was completely. The first one was completely different.
yeah. But I mean, the whole thing with Maya was that it only burned him after the fact when Dana was so pissed he was ready to fire him.
Yeah.
But as far as it goes in the cage, there was no burning. Like Maya wasn't going to bite, but at the same time, Maya just quit himself. So
Hmm.
White was like, "What the fuck do I do?"
Yeah.
And the thing about it is that, and I mentioned this before, not in the context of Weidman versus Silva, but I've talked to both of you guys previously about Weidman versus Uriah. And Uriah Hall was touted by both of his tough season coaches as the next Anderson Silva, right?
Right.
And I had mentioned, hey, Uriah's done some phenomenal things in martial arts and in MMA previous to this. And then I noted that Chris Weidman, was the guy who took his championship from him in a lesser organization. And it
Mhm.
was almost exactly the same thing because we've seen it with Uriah in his first fight in the UFC where he tried to showboat a bunch and do all this stuff, and he ended up getting beat, right? That's exactly how he lost to Weidman. Weidman was coming in with punches, and Uriah tried to sort of swagger his way with these hands down dodges, and Weidman, no joke, Weidman caught him with the left exactly the same way, dropped him, and then ground and pounded him till the TKO came. In
Right.
this case, Weidman actually knocked Silva out cold
Well,
with
yeah,
that
that
left.
the right, the left. I don't know if he was knocked out cold. He was out, but it was
It
the
was
right coming when he hit the mat. His fucking Silva's head bounced like holy shit. He was
if you watch
fucked.
the replay, you will see when that left hits, Silva's body goes limp. Now, a lot of times in these fights, dudes will go limp and then they hit the mat and wake up.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen for Silva. He hit the mat, he didn't wake up, and then Weidman hit him with that right, and his head bounced off the mat. And he was still out actually until the ref came in, and
Oh
then
yeah,
he
yeah.
woke
No,
up and
his head hitting like that. I'm
yeah.
sure he's fucked.
But
for a couple
Weidman
of
knocked
months
him
after
out
that.
with that left. There's no doubt in my mind. Um, and like it was funny though because the responses that I saw immediately after the end of the fight was half of the people were laughing, half of people were laughing, and half were saying it's a fix, because of all of this UFC promo, like trying to put Weidman over. But here's the thing: UFC always promos their challengers. If they haven't
Mhm.
earned a name, they promo them so that people will buy the
Oh,
event.
yeah, yeah.
This was not a work. This was not Silva taking a bow. This was Silva doing his usual showboating garbage to try to get in the head of his opponent,
Yeah.
and it
And
didn't
then
work this
didn't
time.
work. Yeah.
And honestly, when you listen to Weidman speak, I don't know about everybody else, but I honestly kind of think that Weidman might be too dumb to like fall for that. Like when you hear him talk, it sort of sounds like like he's just a little bit on the simple side. You know what I mean? It
I'm
like
sure
his
he is.
like his corner is just like punch that guy in the head until the fight's over, and he's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, okay, coach, you got it,
Yeah.
coach." You know,
Put a hole through his chest.
exactly, exactly. And I feel like that works out in Weidman's favor, and he said it before the fight. He's not scared, and at no point did I feel like he was buying into Silva's antics.
No, yeah,
And
no, I agree. And to the point that Silva then continued with those
yeah,
antics.
yeah.
Is
I don't know
A,
about that.
really stupid. B, well, obviously lost him the fucking title.
Yeah,
And then C, I guess then that's just Silva's personality.
To
Like,
an
I guess
extent. Yeah,
to an extent, sure. Because like after the freaking fight in Abu Dhabi, like that was just like Dana came in. Just if you're that much better than him, just beat the fuck out of him and have it done.
hmm
And then like, so why the fuck didn't he just like? I'm pretty sure he
because
could
he's
have
not.
gone in and
This is the thing, though. Like, and people will start to realize that a lot of people were also saying that, like, oh, if Silva took the fight seriously, he could have put it away, but he had a showboat and he got caught. If you actually look at the fight, at the point where Silva starts showboating, he was losing the fight. Weidman was
oh,
working him. Weidman was winning that fight, and they got stood up. And
stood up. They didn't get stood up. Silva made it back to his feet.
okay. Silva makes it back to his feet. But at that point, what advantage did Silva have at that point? What
Zero.
was it? Exactly? He was losing that fight,
Yes.
and then he starts to showboat, right?
Yes,
starts
because he was trying to get
win.
him pissed off so that he would come in on him
Exactly.
and get him
And
caught.
so at the end of that round, a lot of people really bought into that whole showboating thing because Weidman didn't just knock him out immediately or whatever the case may
Right.
be. But here's the thing: even if Weidman is missing every single strike there, doesn't land a single takedown, what did Silva do?
Zero. So he would have lost some
Nothing.
points.
He lost that round.
Yes.
But the fans are eating it up. Oh, Silva's totally in control. He's confident. Oh, man, he's got this. No, he didn't. And the second round is more of the same. Silva did absolutely nothing in the second round. He threw some random strikes that didn't hit, and then he got knocked out. So, but this is a pattern with him. And if you, like, honestly, if you really look at it, like, I think the Maya fight is probably an exception where he was winning the Maya fight and then he started to showboat because he was looking to bait Maya in for a flashy finish and it didn't work. And then maybe the Lietas fight before that, where I personally think that was a fight where they respected each other too much because Brazilians get real buddy and they don't want to fight each other sometimes. But every other fight, Silva finishes. You know,
Yeah.
Like if he's not finishing the fight in the first 2.5 minutes because he's landed a clean counter to a guy who's being overly aggressive,
Right.
then he starts baiting people in and then gets that finish. You know, Kale's second fight is probably the exception. Kale's first fight, he didn't buy into the bullshit either, and he started dominating. And you'll look at that and notice that Silva never did the whole showboating thing, right? But
Yeah.
he ended up playing to Kale's weakness and getting that triangle armbar. But in the second fight, Kale got too excited and went with that wild ass fucking strike, and then Silva's calm and collected persona took over, and he just finished it.
Yeah.
You know. But honestly, it's been years since Silva has just gone in there to fight a fight and really just used his skills. Most of his persona, most of his wins have been dominated by his using this legend against his opponents. And the thing is that he's never fought a guy like BJ or Hughes or Edgar. He's never fought a guy who's just in there who's a worker, except for Kale. And he really lucked out in that first fight in locking that. I mean, luck to an extent that Kale slipped up, but at the same time, that's one of Kale's weaknesses. So I don't.
Yeah.
You know, there's an argument either way. But Kale was the only worker in that division for I don't know, maybe as long as the divisions existed. I don't think I've ever seen a worker in that division. It's always been more like Flash and all this kind of stuff. But it is what it is, man. It's a legitimate loss, and Silva is a funny guy in all of the
Yeah.
this
No,
guy
I
is the
don't really
best.
care of what actually happened in the fight. What happened in the fight is obviously, well, he got knocked the fuck out. Like, I'm more interested in getting everyone's opinion based on what the hell do you think happens now
Oh, well, I think one of two
for
things.
Weidman and then Silva.
Well, Weidman's going to take on whoever because he's a company guy. He's like Jones, but less intelligent, which is saying something because Jones is no genius himself. Um, I mean, these guys are great athletes. I respect them as athletes, and they're amazing martial artists. But
Yeah, I know
but
he definitely does seem to
yeah,
be on the simple side.
they're
Like in that
neither.
interview thing,
These
like
guys aren't KO.
during the flood or whatever, he went out to try to do a sump pump to
Yeah,
get his basement unflooded, but yet his main floor was flooded and the
yeah,
whole city street was flooded. So what the fuck was the point of trying
yeah.
that in the first place? And second of all, he got electrocuted.
Yeah, yeah. I
Like
mean,
the
if you look at
fuck?
some of these guys, like Kale is everybody's like Kale's got mic skills. Kale's got intelligence. That's why he's
Yes,
quick.
yes.
That's why he's quick. I mean, I still think Kale is a massive dickhead
Mhm.
in like outside of the sport. But he's intelligent.
Oh, you
And
actually think he's a like that is who he is? He is a dick.
no, I think that he's a dick not because of his mic skills, but because of the garbage that he got involved in outside of the cage. I mean, when you almost go to prison for money laundering
Mhm.
and you're an intelligent guy, you didn't just get taken in by your cousin. You know what I mean? Like he knew what he was doing and he knew what to say to keep from going to prison. But
Mhm.
the guy's a dick as far as that goes. Like, and there's no ifs, ands, and buts about it, in my opinion. But anyhow, that's aside from the point. But the thing is that Jones and Weidman are not like the most intelligent guys on the block. They're company men that they'll fight who they have to fight unless their coaches tell them, you know what, we're gonna hold off and pick another opponent. Um, I think that what happens next for Weidman is, yeah, obviously he takes whoever the UFC hands to him because he wants to prove his legacy. Because there's going to be a lot of people telling him that it's a fluke, a lot of fans and all
Yeah,
of
oh
that.
yes. Fans.
So Weidman will take
Oh,
whoever Lorenzo puts in front of him, and Dana and Lorenzo have two choices here, basically. Vitor has already been on a massive Twitter campaign,
mm-hmm.
and Dana's already put it out there that Vitor is going to be the next challenger over Twitter, which means that Dana gets to say whatever the fuck he wants to later
Right.
on to change that. Um, Anderson is not an idiot either. So I think Anderson is going to play this. I'm not going to fight for the belt again. Trash until he gets himself 1 million or more, guaranteed payout before pay per view and all that,
Mm.
and then he'll take the fight. Or Dana will actually give the fight to Vitor because there really isn't anybody else in the division. But here's the thing: I think Dana's gonna like wear out all of his resources on Anderson because Vitor can't fight in the U.S. His TRT has not been
Yeah.
approved
Right.
anywhere else but Brazil.
Okay.
So what happens if Dana passes up Silva on the rematch and then gives it to Vitor and Vitor wins? You've got a champion who can't
The
fight
only can.
outside of his home country.
Well, now is it only the U.S. or like what about Australia, Europe?
Any country that has a athletic commission is unlikely to approve Vitor because Vitor popped
Yeah.
hot for anabolics
Oh, yeah.
in
Fuck yeah.
2006.
Yeah.
And that's the deal. That's why he can't get approved in Vegas because Vegas would love to have Vitor's money or Vitor's fans' money, excuse me.
Right.
But he popped hot for anabolics in 2006. So that's why they won't approve him. And I can't see any other athletic commission that is actually legitimate. And I don't mean this as a slight to the Brazilian commission or Brazilian people, but let's be real. Any other commission that's legitimate, that's been set up for more than 6 months, which the Brazilian commission has not, is not going to approve a guy who popped hot for anabolics. It's not going to happen. You're not going to get approved for TRT. And Vitor's not taking that fight without TRT.
Right.
So this is why I think Dana is going to exhaust everything on trying to get Silva back in there, and Silva will do it for the right amount of money because everything about this, Silva was talking about retiring like 4 years ago,
Yes.
but he keeps signing up because nobody's beating him, and Dana is paying him ridiculous amounts. He
Oh
got
yeah.
600,000 for this fight.
Yeah.
That's more than
Well, that's for the
Lesnar.
fight. That's not including
Yeah,
the
that's not
promos
pay
and
per view.
whatever other.
That's not gate.
Yeah.
That's not sponsors.
That's just
But
for the actual fight itself. For getting knocked out, he got 600K.
exactly. And before this fight, I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure I'm accurate. Before this fight, the biggest single like base pay guy was Lesnar at 400K.
Uh, Liddell was getting 500.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe Liddell. If that's true, that's Liddell. But that still makes Silva the highest paid base paid
Yeah.
fighter on the UFC roster.
Yeah.
So I think that's honestly what it is because Brazil is a rough place, man, and it's getting better, but it's rough. So these guys, when they come up, the reason why they fight so hard, the reason why they train so hard, is because they want a better life. And I've seen it in
Yeah.
other sports too. Like it's the same thing with the soccer players, even like niche sports like skateboarding. These guys will become pro. They get to the Brazilian level of pro, and then they spend every dollar that they have to get to another country to try to make
Right.
it there because they're trying to get out of
Brazil.
well, not necessarily out of Brazil, but at least out of the,
Out of the
dangerous
slums
areas.
area of Rio
Yeah.
or whatever. Yeah.
And that's what makes these guys so explosive in the sports that they play in,
Yeah.
and that's
Well,
what
'cause,
Silva's
yeah,
always
it's their
wanted.
livelihood, their actual families.
Exactly, exactly. So, he's been taking fights or whatever, and he just signed a 10 fight contract before this fight, so he's gonna collect 10 paychecks.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to him. He'll collect 10 more paychecks, but I think he's positioning himself for a big fat paycheck before he takes 9 whatever fights. You know,
Yeah,
and that'll be that.
And that's why
I'm
his
just wondering
speech at
if he
the end
if
maybe.
they try to go the super fight route first, or does he need the belt for that super fight to actually mean anything?
What were you gonna say, Matt?
Oh, I was just gonna say that's why his speech at the end of the fight kind of made me laugh. Like, I don't want to fight for the belt. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I was laughing too. I was more in the moment though. I wasn't thinking that far ahead at that time. But yeah. As far as the super fights go, they're worthless without that belt.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely worthless because he's already been beat by some guy who most UFC fans never heard of, quote unquote.
Right.
I mean, Weidman's had what, 2 fights in the UFC, maybe?
It's just like Pacquiao. He got beat and then it's like, no more super fight now. You suck.
It's a little bit trickier in that case, but I don't want to go into boxing on an MMA show. But it is a little bit trickier in that case. But as far as it goes, especially because this is the thing, Anderson already gave an interview to I want to say MMA Fighting, where he said that he does not think he could beat Jones, and this was before this fight.
Yeah.
And so he was really angling, like he was looking ahead a little bit, thinking that, if, okay, I beat Weidman like I beat everybody else, I want GSP because he knows he can beat GSP. And if he beats GSP, then he's cemented.
I don't know
It
if he
doesn't even
would
matter.
though.
I think he would. I definitely think he would. I think
Because GSP is not going to be stupid enough to go in and try to do something.
But what does
Super, like-
GSP have that Anderson can't counter? Like, this is the thing. Weidman won because he's willing to charge in, swinging, and he's not scared. That's why Weidman won. Because Anderson actually caught Weidman with a couple of counters here and there, but it didn't do anything.
Are you
and that
saying
was
my
one of the
GSP
things-
is scared? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not trying to say GSP is scared. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that Anderson is fighting much bigger guys than what GSP is. And he's like, first of all, he gets them shook. So shook that they're not really expecting anything. Like they're
Right, but GSP has essentially turned himself into a worker. He works people over and then grinds them out and
yes, but GSP actually has a weak chin.
fair enough. I don't. Yeah.
GSP
I don't
has
know
a
if
weak
we.
chin.
It's not. I don't know about
and
weak
I don't
champ.
know.
He does
Yes,
get.
Sarah knocked him out, and he's been rocked in what 2 of the last 3 fights.
Yeah.
The dude he's not, he doesn't have an iron chin. We'll put it like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
split the difference. He doesn't have an iron chin. Okay,
Right.
and the big difference is that GSP is able to do a lot of what he does, especially against, I want to say, like Condit and who else gave GSP a good run for his money lately.
Not Diaz.
No.
No.
Oh, well, we had Diaz, Condit, Koscheck.
Yeah, no. Okay, so just Condit. We'll just give credit to Condit. Koscheck held his own for a bit until his
Yes.
ice walled
Well,
up.
yeah.
But yeah, okay. We'll just go with Condit on this. But the thing is that GSP's real strengths, other than outside of like, okay, he's a great wrestler, is that he's got tremendous conditioning, and he's stronger than everybody else in that division. He's jacked for that division, but he loses that advantage against
As
Anderson.
soon as he goes up, yeah.
And it's got to be catch weight. There's no way that it's not. GSP's not going all the way up, and Anderson wouldn't go all the way down. So he loses his strength, and then he's got wrestling, but his submission defense isn't spectacular, and his submission defense is based on his strength, so that's not going to work. And his wrestling itself is not like, it's not godly without his strength. Because
Right.
I would honestly say that I would honestly say that Koscheck and Condit probably have like better technical wrestling, but what GSP and it's not a big gap, but it's a little bit of a gap, but GSP can make up for that and more so with his strength in that division. So I think that's why GSP isn't really willing to do the fight. He's sort of like putting it off and so on and so. It's sort of like Mayweather Pacquiao syndrome, where Mayweather has the tools, but he's not really sure, so he doesn't really want to risk it, So yeah, as far as the super fights goes, and Jones actually tweeted tweeted something like, "This sucks," because he wanted that payday so bad for that super fight. So yeah, I don't think the super fight really pays off unless Anderson gets that rematch and wins, and he has to win in a devastating fashion to really get that paycheck for a super fight. But it's still, he's got a blemished record at this point, and GSP's been winning consecutively long enough that his blemish doesn't count.
So, yeah.
And Jones's blemish is a technicality.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have that equal.
You can't go north-south against a deaf person.
I saw a guy break a bunch of ice with north-south elbows once, so that's super
concrete
dangerous.
blocks. Come on, it was concrete blocks at 2 a.m. on some random TV show or
Whatever the case may be. That shit is awful.
John McCarthy's fucking explanation of that is just like he's at the fucking meeting going like, "What the fuck are you guys talking about?"
It's terrible.
What?
All right, hey, I have some news of the week here, really quick. Nobody watches Fight Master, do they?
No.
I've missed all of them. I'm gonna catch them eventually.
Yeah, so I missed this week. I have it recorded. I can watch it whenever I want, but it went up 26%. Woo! In terms of the
Give it
rating.
to me on internet
on
and
Friday?
then I'll watch it.
No, it's still on Wednesdays.
What's on Friday? Oh, Bellator's on Friday. Excuse me. I keep mixing that up. Okay.
Yeah, Bellator's on Friday starting next season.
Okay.
Yes. So apparently Melvin Gillard was in jail.
Nice.
Or was he was found guilty of aggravated battery. Let's see, where the hell? I don't know. In 2010,
Aggravated
he got that in a
battery.
bar fight.
Okay.
Bar fight in 2010.
So someone started a fight and he finished it.
Pretty much. There's another.
I've seen you on TV. You suck.
There's another UFC Fight for the Troops event targeted for November 6th. So that's going to be another free thing there on UFC on Sports, UFC Sports, Fox Sports 1. Jesus. Diego Sanchez versus Gilbert Melendez got announced. What do you think about that? No, nothing.
Did you say Gilbert Melendez?
Yes,
Yeah.
Diego Sanchez.
Not interested. Oh,
All
and
right.
Diego, super not interested. I
All
wish
right.
that fight didn't exist. I'm almost
Wow.
going to boycott the card
Well,
because those
it
are two of the
exists.
most uninteresting fighters on the planet right now.
Diego Sanchez should just continue drinking himself into a death.
Or develop a personality and try to take
Oh, that's fuck
Kenny's.
not gonna happen. Develop a person, dude. He is the most like retarded. You're talking about stupid people. About like holy
Hey,
shit.
You're right. You're right. I was trying to give the guy a benefit of the doubt.
I know, but
You're right.
fuck. Like that guy is like, yeah, he's all about God and drinking. Apparently, I like that guy is the most weird, fucking idiotic person I've ever seen an interview on.
All right. John Jones and Gustafsson, we already knew it was going to be in Toronto, but September 21st, we now know the date.
Right.
And UFC 165, I guess. We know the number of it too now. Nate Marquardt and Hector Lombard is happening. Woo! Yay.
Yeah. Again, couldn't care less. Or is it could care less? I don't know.
That
My
card
English
is looking
terrible.
great for you, Jest.
Honestly,
Great.
I want to take a step back to the John Jones Gustafson fight, only just to say, like, I really feel like Gustafson could give John Jones a run for his money, but he needs like 4 more fights, 3 more fights minimum to develop. I feel like they're throwing him in there
Because there's no one
early.
else to fucking fight.
I
The last
know.
2 fights he's had were fucking guys from a division below. Like I don't.
I know, and that's a problem with that division because every guy that's developed is a little bit old and they're scared, and it sucks. But I mean, Gustafson could be a real talent, but he needs the time to develop, and I think that they're
Yeah,
sort of
he's
shooting
also coming
themselves
off an
in the foot.
injury. He hasn't fought in a long time.
That this is like part of my point, man. Like,
No, yeah, I completely agree. Like, yes,
look,
he
get young,
deserves a title
talented
shot,
guys in
but
there, but you gotta.
I don't think he's fought in 11 months or something like that.
Oh yeah, it's been.
Like, that's some serious fucking ring rust to then be throwing him into fucking John Jones.
Well, on top of not being fully developed when the injury occurred.
Fair
And
enough. Yeah.
that's the thing. You got to give these young
Yeah.
guys like John
How
Jones.
he's
guys-
a year younger than
guys like,
Jones, or a year older than Jones.
I don't even know what his age is. The age doesn't really matter though because John Jones is.
Well,
a
it-
freak.
Yeah,
He's a
no.
freak.
Well, yes, fair enough. It is to do with who you fought and how many times you fought, and
Well, John he's an athletic freak. He really is. He's an outlier.
well, his
as far as
reach
it
is what
goes.
really fucks shit. up.
No, because his first fight in there, like, put the reach aside. The reach is an advantage, but the reach only makes up for the little mistakes that he makes. Athletically, he got in there against Bonner, who was a fucking bona fide vet, and threw him around like a goddamn rag doll. He didn't use his reach. He got in there and threw him around the ring in a UFC fight night. And that's the thing. Like, he's just an athletic phenom. He's a Benson Henderson. He's an Anderson Silva. He's a Jose Aldo in the sense that he's athletically, he's just on a different level than most people. Most of these guys work for years and years and years to get to the performance level that they're at. And John Jones went in there at like 20 and was fucking tossing dudes around. Like,
Yeah.
he's an outlier. And other talents need time to develop. They need to get where they are. Fucking even GSP needed time to develop. He was dominating for a while, but he still needed time to like really, really get his shit down.
Right.
And now he's fucking one of the best in the business. Period, bar none. And that's the only time you'll hear me say that, Matt. So treasure it, record it, listen to it at night.
Well, it is recorded, so that's good.
There you go.
Yeah. Well,
But yeah, I just feel like they're
I just yeah.
it's gonna fuck Gustafson's career over because they're feeding him to the lions too early, and that sucks. It really sucks because the guy, he's a good fighter. He just needs more experience.
But yeah, it does come down like that fight could do a lot for him or hurt him unreconcilably. Like it just can completely fuck him up, or he could learn a lot more from that fight than he would from another fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he'll most likely lose, but sometimes losing is a good thing.
The problem with losing in that
Losing,
division,
yes, losing is a good thing in some cases. Getting your ass handed to you will
exactly.
fuck up your confidence and will fuck up your career as a fighter.
It fucks up your confidence. You can't really learn anything because you're in there against it's an unbalanced fight. It's not like, oh, I learned that I have a tendency to do this and this is a weakness. It's just like you look at the tape and you're like, he fucking countered everything perfectly and I don't see the weakness. I
Yeah.
don't see where I can improve. And then on top of that, in the fans' eyes, you just got worked the fuck over before you could even establish yourself. So there is no coming back from that. If you're not Kale Sonnen with a mic, like if you can't rally something out of nothing, then you're done.
I also don't. I just like I don't think he's strong enough to be able to.
He's not strong enough, and his striking's not anywhere near where it needs to be. But he's the right height and has the right reach, and he's got
Yeah.
a good fight IQ. But a fight IQ is not going to overtake natural athleticism. Not in a sport.
Right.
Chess, he could probably beat Jones in chess.
So, in the last news story that I have, Josh Rosenthal, the referee who got caught for having a lot of drugs.
The weed man.
The weed guy. So, 37 months in prison.
Whoa!
Oh, no.
No more big fat guy.
Oh, man.
That is who Josh Rosenthal is, right?
Yeah, the bald guy.
Oh, well, he's not fat, but yeah,
the big
he's not
bald guy.
fit
The
either,
big,
but yeah.
the big guy
Yeah, he's
with
bald.
the goatee, and
He was on War MMA, actually, doing
goatee.
some commentary.
does he not?
No goatee.
Yeah, I think you're like channeling Tank Abbott from like 20 years ago. Yeah, Rosenthal is clean shaven and he's bald and he's a ref.
I thought. Okay, I thought he had like a small goatee at some point, or not a goatee, but well,
Some kind of facial hair. I don't recall it.
He
But
did have $6 million worth of weed
yeah.
at one point.
fuck.
Before the stoners get crazy and start talking about, see, they're punishing us too much for weed. It was an entire fucking warehouse full of weed. And if that wasn't enough evidence that he's guilty, he also guest commentated on the Diaz the Diaz promotion,
Oh fuck.
War MMA. And it sounded, Matt was swearing up and down that it sounded like a Skype call, like he wasn't ringside.
So,
And
so they showed him on camera. He was there, but his sound just sounded weird.
Well, I mean, the guys were. I mean, when your
Josh
CEOs, when your
Josh
CEOs
Rosenthal,
are sitting in the kitchen of a house while the website is being hacked, and one of them is
Oh, God.
working on the hacking, and the other one is taking a hit out of a giant bong, I'm pretty sure the technical aspects of your production are not going to be the greatest.
So no, it's not the ref that I thought it was, but okay, I do know who that is.
Yeah, Rosenthal's not a bad ref. He's not a bad ref at all. He's better than Kim Winslow. He's better than Cecil Peoples, although you just kind of have breathing and have your eyes open to be better than Cecil Peoples. But still, the point is, I would say he's better than.
Hilarious.
Oh my God, who was it that Fitch almost got killed because of? Like Fitch almost legitimately died in the ring.
Mazzagatti?
for-
No. Mazzagatti? No.
Mazzagatti. It
Yeah,
was Mazzagatti.
Yeah.
It was
That last fight,
Mazzagatti.
you mean?
Yeah.
Bellator?
In
I didn't see that.
no, it was
I didn't know I got-
World Series of Fighting.
Oh,
Fitch
sorry,
Fitch was almost legitimately killed in the ring because Mazzagatti is worthless.
Moron? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's bad. It's kind of bad for MMA if guys die in the cage. Just
Yeah, no one has yet.
Mazzagatti still a ref.
There's still a fucking.
I mean, there it is.
Yeah. Well, there's been a couple of boxers.
Yeah,
That have
unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why boxing is much faster. MMA fans complain about early stoppages. Boxing refs stop the fight like at a moment's notice. Honestly, it feels really early. I used to watch boxing a lot when I was younger, and it felt like they gave more guys more of a chance to rally. I mean, especially when you can cover up better, and the gloves
Yeah.
are much bigger. so you can block them easier. Like they gave guys more of a
Leaves the
chance. But
octagon tonight with the middleweight.
Oh,
recently,
it's nice that Matt's paying attention to
Sorry.
the conversation.
I think he's setting up stuff for the next segment. But anyways, yeah. The refs are quick to stop in boxing, so it's something to say when guys are getting late stoppages in MMA because that really risks their health.
Yeah. Because there was...
I mean, fuck, dude, Seaver could actually, he might have a case for a lawsuit. Swanson literally stopped before the ref stepped in,
Yeah.
and Seaver was getting fucking worked. So there it is.
Yeah, how to, being a judge or a ref.
Well, judges... I don't know if it's the judges necessarily or just the way they have to judge. Because they're told the way they're supposed to judge, which is fucking horrible.
Call him A and call him B, to be honest.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted... What do you guys think? What was there even a submission? I'm just like for submission, fight, and knockout.
No
the night.
submission, only
I don't
KOs.
believe there was a submission,
Only
no.
I don't think
KOs.
there was. No, unless that first
Nope,
Facebook fight was.
nothing.
I think Weidman probably earns knockout of the night
Yeah.
just because it was
What it is,
Silva.
yeah.
But I really do feel like it needs to be split with Gonzaga because Gonzaga fucking wrecked Herman's world. That was and I didn't get a chance to chime in when you guys were going over the fight by fights, but man, I literally and people make this joke all the time in quick finishes, but I literally got up to take a piss when they were walking in, and I came back and I saw Gonzaga putting his hat on and Goldberg's, "We'll have the decision when we come back." And I was like, what the fuck just happened? Because that doesn't happen. Like, people joke, but that doesn't happen. Not to me, you know. And that's exactly what it was. And Herman is a can, I guess. I don't. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't really subscribe
he is.
to that, but yeah, Herman's maybe got one more chance at a career in taking Czech Congo's place as the gatekeeper. But
Oh fuck!
it's pretty much over for him.
Fight of the night.
Oh fuck! You know what? Honestly, I would give that to Edgar and Oliveira.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm leaning towards. Even though, I just don't like Edgar much. I guess, but
I don't either, but it was a good fight. He put up
just
a
from
good
looking
fight.
at everything else, it would have to be giving it to Weidman because he knocked the fuck Silva out. Or
But was it a good fight?
no,
though?
it wasn't. But I also
Yeah.
don't think Edgar.
What?
Like,
You
I don't think
Edgar-
it's probably the best fight on the card, but I don't think that was a great fight.
Well, fight of the night is fight of the night.
Yeah,
so
I know.
it's the best fight on the card.
Yeah. I know. It's just that I still don't like.
I thought it was a great fight. I thought Oliveira made it a great fight, but the point is that it was a great fight overall. I think Oliveira's willingness to get in there and exchange even when he was losing in the striking is what made that fight exciting, because Frankie saw some success and for a change showed some aggression because of that success instead of just trying to tap here and there and coast to the decision. Oliveira also had a couple of threatening moments. For example, in the second, if there were maybe 15 more seconds on that clock, then
Look at the guillotine. Yeah.
that guillotine was getting in. He was slipping it in.
Yeah,
And
fair enough. But
Frankie would have been done, you know.
He
So
slipped it in with 8 seconds left on the clock. So.
well, no, he set it up. He had the positioning with 8
Oh
seconds.
yeah, I know. Yeah.
Slip it in until it was 2 seconds left. He didn't have a chance to lock it in,
Hey.
but it was sliding under his throat right at the end of the bell, or at the end of the round.
We'll talk about this on the after show. My cat is going crazy and stuff, and I gotta go. So we'll be right back on the after show. But yeah, I'm done recording. See you guys. What? What, Steiner? I'm gone.
Keep them those elbows, boys and girls. Keep
Yeah,
her on those
see ya.
elbows.